7 things to up your Airbnb game. I'm Axel. I've been a Superhost for 8 years. I make my living this way, and I've hosted over 10,000 people. Number 1, I don't really ever give a bad review unless the person's a real menace, because I'm sympathetic. They're just trying to enjoy their vacation. Something gets broken. It's not a really big deal. This is kind of a karma thing, but it's also kind of like appreciate the good guests. The guests that give me a lot of grief are the ones who give me a 4-star review and the ones who annoy the neighbors. That is far worse than, oh, you broke something. Number 2, I've never naturally been a rule follower, but I follow the rules, particularly regarding city regulations. I make sure that I'm zoned correctly so that if I get a neighbor who gets mad, I can't get shut down. And I nearly did get shut down that way if I hadn't already applied for Class 1 Airbnb and gotten that, so that I don't have to live in that property and I can rent it out. Number 3, I kind of lucked into this. I have a niche. It is large groups of people. And that's a great niche because, first of all, it's hard to replicate. I bought into 2 different main towns at a time when property was pretty cheap. And I got properties that were ideal for big house. I made them into real big house rentals. Another great thing is that they are somewhat recession resilient, because I have 2 crowds of people who come. I have the bachelorette parties, or I should say I used to have them, and I have the multi-generational family groups. I don't think people are getting married so much. It's been a much slower thing, but the other has picked up the slack. So I'm glad of that. Also, it's handy that if things are a little bit tough, my properties are where you can pile a lot of people in, you can cook your own food, you can have your own event in the space, and that means that when times are tough, I still get bookings. Of course, COVID was terrible. Number 4, be really clear. I've learned from being in groups that drink and have a good time that if you learn what you're supposed to do before you actually start drinking, there's a good chance you'll do that. So I make sure that people understand, don't make noise here, but it's okay to make noise inside after 11 o'clock if you shut the windows, because the house isn't that close to anyone else. I put up minimal signs, but I do remind them of that. You don't want to be that Airbnb that says, make sure to close this drawer after you've used it. And, there are stories about those. So I try to make it clear to the guests beforehand what I care about. And what I care about is not annoying the neighbors. And other than that, if they make a mess, it's factored in. The guests are special. They are having their vacation. It's something they've been looking forward to. And I try to make them feel special. I leave sodas and coffee supplies, sometimes fruit. And for me, this is a great win, because if something goes wrong and things go wrong, or if they notice something, they're going to cut me a little bit of slack and hopefully not give me a 4-star review, because they were like, well, yeah, we had coffee, or, we had a generally good time, or he told us a bunch of cool things to do in the area, which I do. Number 6, have an excellent cleaner or manager or both. I happen to be very lucky in this regard, and it's made a world of difference. Get someone, she is like on top of things. She takes pride in her work and she does a great job. She learns from when things go wrong, and she looks for problems in a very independent way. And I leave her alone to do her job, and she likes that. So it's a great situation. I don't know where I'd be without a really good cleaner who has evolved into effectively a manager. Number 7, surprise. Most of the guests are absolutely great, and you're going to get a lot of reward from the fact that you're giving them these great vacations, or you're enabling these great vacations. There is going to be a certain percentage who are just awful and who are crazy. But that percentage in the 10,000 people I've hosted is something like, I don't know, 2 guests a year. And you just have to deal with the 4-star review. I had one who annoyed the neighbor and then got called out for that on the street by said neighbor and then gave me a 4-star review. So she made the problem and she made it my problem. But you will be surprised. Most people are really delightful. They're a joy to host, and it's great to be a part of this.